This is a retelling of 98 pages from the book Dune by Frank Herbert. Um, I left off in the end of book 2, Muad'Dib, and began book 3, The Prophet. 98 pages of text with 5 chapters, with 5 separate chapters. Now, the first part starts out where we left, with Jessica and Paul coming to the siege, kind of a city of the freemen. This is where we learn about how they earn money. They produce explosives, chemicals, and plastics to sell and to use in their own needs. So they make, for example, dew collectors, and their mechanism is fully explained in this chapter. We're also met with the wife of Jamis, the man who was killed by Paul. By Freeman tradition, all the belongings of Jamis, which includes his wife, goes to Paul. Now Paul has to inherit 2 children, and the wife of Jamis. He accepts her as a slave for now because he cannot think of himself as a husband since he's only 15 years old. Now, despite this, he's awaiting hostility from Hara, the wife of Jamis, and his 2 sons, but finds none of it, considering the Freeman tradition. They do not hold a grudge against him, and they do not want to revenge their father. Now, the next chapter is basically about the transition of Jessica into the Reverend Mother. The Reverend Mother, by the law of the book, is like a cleric figure, a religious person representing the idea, I guess, that the freemen have about transforming Earth. So she's like the main priestess, and the old priestess is dying. So now Jessica has to take her place, and as she had proven before with her speech, she confirmed to Stilgar that she was a Bene Gesserit, a person trained in the ways of a priestess. So she takes the drug that is supposed to merge the consciousness of the last Reverend Mother with her own. The problem here is that she is pregnant with the sister of Paul, the daughter of the late Duke Leto, and because of this, her daughter also receives parts of the Reverend Mother consciousness, which obviously no Freeman knows about it except Jessica and the Reverend Mother, now dying and transferring all of her experiences and knowledges into the new Reverend Mother. After performing the ritual, Paul too has to drink the liquid drug to finalize the procession, and this once again opens up his future seeing abilities and merges his basically fate with the today's hours. He's taken into his siege room, and now we go on to book 3. The book 3 starts out at the Harkonnens' place. Now it has been 2.5 years almost, so both Theodore Rothar, the successor of Baron Harkonnen, and Paul are 17, almost 18 years old, meaning they have their own responsibilities to do. Now, Theodore Rothar, the nephew of Baron Harkonnen, tries to assassinate him, and that doesn't work. He fails his chess play, as Baron Harkonnen says, and he, the Baron, totally uncovers him, planting his own vicious wisdom into the man of otherwise good abilities. Despite this, Fidruthai is still quite a despicable person. The chapter ends with Baron Harkonnen talking with Sophia Hawat about the plans on Arrakis, and how Sophia Hawat talks about the Salus Secundus, the prison planet of the Emperor, and how they could basically implement the same mechanism on Arrakis to train elite soldiers that are even better than the Sardakwa of the Emperor. The next chapter is about Paul getting to ride the Shai Hulud, the Worm of the Sands, the Maker, as he is called. Now, all people, apparently at the age of 12 in the Freeman culture, have to ride the Shai Hulud, but Paul was delayed that privilege since he was not a part of the Freeman culture, and only after a certain period of time, after living in the Sieges, after proving himself as a freeman by superior tactics that he learned from his counselors that were appointed by Duke Leto, he is now allowed to ride the Shai Hulud, and he, starts the ceremony, gets the hooks, and sees the ripples of a giant sandworm. Unfortunately, before we see what happens next, we're taken outside of Paul's range into the south of the Arrakis desert, where apparently a safe siege is established, where Jessica, now with her already born daughter, lives with other women and children to hide them from the Harkonnen wrath. Now the Harkonnens, obviously, after including the mechanism of the prison planet on the Arrakis, they became more and more angry towards the Freeman population, and so the raids grew in size. Because of this, a lot of women and children had to leave the closer sieges to go into the deep south. This chapter is all about Jessica and how she thinks about the future of the Freeman, at the same time wondering about her daughter Alia, who apparently can speak at the age of 2, and also can talk, can walk, read, and catch subtle differences. Basically, she has the consciousness and experiences of Reverend Mother, which means she's far more knowledgeable than any other child. Because of this, she's suspected in being possessed by a demon, except only Hara, Jamis' wife, believes that she's just a normal girl, but rather a smart one, because of some weeding way that happened during the ceremony of the Reverend Mother. Jessica agrees, and Alia, the daughter, actually uses Hara in her plans, or starts using her in the plans, to explain to every Freeman how she is not possessed by a demon and is in fact a normal person. This has been 98 pages from the Dune.